5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
In crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, 815.
Oh, this is just delightful. Did you know that that mosquitoes have been discovered on Iceland? That means Antarctica is the only continent now where Tom can escape mosquitoes. I'm Greg. He's Tom. This is your In Crowd 815 podcast for the 27th day of December, the year 2025, the latest it has ever been, my friend.
In the history of the world. Not just the United States, the world.
All of mankind. Yeah.
Yeah, I particularly hate mosquitoes. I don't understand. You know, I mean, why can't we just wipe them out? Seriously, can we just, let's focus on something. Roaches, gnats, mosquitoes, whatever. One will be fine. I know it's all disrupting the ecosystem.
I can only really the favorite snack of a bird that God loves, you know.
Yeah. What is the one killer
killdeer?
No, killer wasps? Hornets?
Oh, murder wasps.
Murder hornets. Murder hornets. Those are bad news.
Those
I think
are
we
scary.
should get rid of them.
Those are scary things.
Yeah.
I just want you to post this. There we go. All right, there we go. We are live on all your favorite platforms and ready to talk to you and the person still sleeping next to you. So maybe give them a nudge and say, hey, Greg and Tom are talking on the Instagrams and the Rumbles and the LinkedIn's, X's, YouTube's, Facebook's. Did I miss one? Later on Spotify and Amazon and all the stuff.
Snoopy came back from space today to say hi.
Welcome, Snoopy. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas with Charlie Brown. Of course
I
you
did.
We've got some business to take care of. Let's do this right away. Look at that. Look at that. Our current race to 10. We are tied at 5. And our big number, the last big number of the week for 2025 is truly a big number, Tom. It is 4 billion. And the answer is it plows or poinsettias.
Ooh.
I'm told the correct pronunciation is poinsettias, but some people.
Yeah, I know. I've heard poinsettias. I've heard poinsettias. It's a matter of where you're from, I guess.
I'm hooked on phonics. It looks like poinsettias to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. So put your guess in the chat. Maybe you'll win one of these awesome In Crowd 815 t-shirts by guessing plows or poinsettias. That's all you got to do when you put your comments in the chat. You don't even have to say anything else, but just put one word: plows or poinsettias. And I don't even care if you spell it right. I mean, you should if you're I cut it on the screen. It's right there, but that's fine. You don't have to spell it right. Episode 299, Tom. We are going to start the new year 1 week from today with episode number 300 of the In Crowd 815 podcast, which for those who don't remember, we started out as a radio show on WROK radio. And if we were actually counting the episodes from the beginning of this show back in 2013, we would be at episode 631 today.
So then where would I be, since I started back at the station in 2007? And I started on this Saturday morning. My Saturday mornings have been taken up for a long, long time.
You know how close you would be to episode 1000?
Probably.
You'd be right there, right at about episode 1000. Pretty darn close. What if we could only have a highlight of all those 1,000 episodes, hey Tom?
Yeah, that would take us about a week and a half to get through it.
We're going to go through some stuff today, including a story that Tom's been wanting to share for quite a while. That I'm excited to hear your recollections of the day that you had your horrendous accident and what happened that day, how that changed your life from that day forward. I know you've chosen to accept more of the positive than the negatives of what happened that day,
yeah.
which I think is amazing character trait of yours, Tom. So I'm looking forward to hear you retell that story today. I did want to do one thing before we do that, though, and let me see if this is going to let me. Let me see if this is going to let me do this right now, because things have changed on Facebook recently, so I can't do some of the things I used to do. And okay, that's fine. I want to real quick. We did our year in review recap last week, and one of the things I did not do that I wish we would have done is do a recap of the actual networking group events that we did last year. We just kind of briefly mentioned them, but I didn't really go over the stuff that we did last year for the actual networking group events. And I really wanted to do that today because we've had some great people step up and choose to host our In-Crowd 815 networking group, which we meet the last Thursday of every month, January through October, and at a different location. So we're always looking for a host for each event that we do on the last Thursday of the month. And basically what we ask of our hosts is a location and a meeting space that's big enough for, 30 to 100 people, depending on how many people you want to show up at your event. Give us a space to do some networking, some free-form networking for about an hour. And then the last hour, whatever the host would like to do as far as telling us about what they do for their business, the not-for-profits that they love and support. Give us a tour of their place if they wish, whatever it is that they want to do for the last, whatever part of the last hour they want to do. 5:30 to 7:30, 2 hours, last Thursday of the month, January through October. That's what we're doing with the In-Crowd 815's networking group. And last year we had a pretty cool, fun, eventful year. We started off the year in January at the MPowr offices downtown Rockford, across the street from the Coronado Theater. We did some speed networking for the first time, and that went so well. People want to do that again. So we're looking to try to incorporate that into our 2026 season somehow. Haven't picked exactly when and where to do that, but look for a speed networking idea to come around next year. In February, our February group, we met at the Tadmore Tailoring business, which is behind Portillo's over there off of State and Mulford. Serene has an amazing business there, and her own not-for-profit that the Tadmore Sustainability Institute that she's been doing there. Told us about that, showed us her facility there. The business that she runs out of that small storefront there is way more than anyone would ever have expected. Seriously, she's doing worldwide alterations out of that little store, and what she's done to do that is really something special. What you can do, even if you live in Rockford, but you just don't want to drive to her store, you can do everything you need to do online, and you can send her the clothing you want altered, and she's got a way to do it online that works almost every time. It's amazing what they're doing at Tadmore Tailoring. So that was really cool. Our March 2025 event, last Thursday of March, we encouraged folks to put together a team and play in the trivia that you hosted, Tom, for NAMI.
That's right.
That was at Park Lanes in Loves Park.
And by the way, we're going to do it again, January, February, and March.
There you go. So if you want to put together a trivia team and support NAMI, the last Thursday of the month, January, February, March of 2026, they're doing the same thing again at Park Lanes again. So I believe we have stuff booked for In-Crowd 815 all of those evenings. However, maybe your team wants to pop in at 5:30, do our little networking, and then head over to the trivia night, which starts, I think it's 7.
Yeah, it's either 6:30 or 7, and I'm pretty sure it is 7.
Yeah.
We'll find
So
out.
you could do both. You could do both.
Yeah.
In April of 2025, we had 2 events actually. Our normal networking group event, which was held at Tinker Swiss Cottage Museum, sponsored by Gregory Saunders, Realtor at Keller Williams Realty Signature. He's an all right guy. That was the week before that, though, was our second edition, version 2.0 of the Masked Karaoke Trivia Contest.
Yep.
And April 17th of 2025, we had a $2,000 grand prize and 2 $500 prizes and a great time at the Hilton Garden Inn again. So that went really well back in April. May, we actually had 2 events in May of 2025. The first was a VIP tour of the new Rockford Public Library. We went out there and checked that out May 8th. And then May 29th, our last Thursday of the month, we were at Marshmallow's Hope and their beautiful facility there off of Bell School Road and Harrison, or Newburgh, closer to Newburgh, behind Cherryville Mall. Marshmallow's Hope, beautiful facility there. They gave us a nice tour of the place, and they have a wonderful area there that we met and had a chance to meet a lot of new folks there that day. In June, we were out at Boone County at the Boone County Jiu-Jitsu location. Jason's place out there, Boone County Jiu-Jitsu, had a fun time doing a little demonstration about what they teach and how they take care of their clients at the Boone County Jiu-Jitsu in Belvedere. We had 2 events in July of 2025. The first was our special Throw for Dough event at Big Timber. We had folks doing an axe throwing competition to win some money for their favorite not-for-profit. And then our In-Crowd 815 networking event for July was out at Macktown Construction. Cassie Bonnet had us out at Macktown Construction, their beautiful renovated facility there at the very north end of Alpine Road. In August, we were at Barnstormers, the Barnstormer Distillery on North 2nd. Addie and Tim had us out at their place, which that was a very cool night. Had a great turnout for that event at Barnstormer Distillery. September, we were at Chilangos, authentic Mexican cuisine that was hosted by Wholesale Payments and our buddy Michael Ruffcorn. And then on October, of course, we had our October event. The last Thursday of October, we were out at Sunset Funeral Home and Memorial Gardens, and Angela's event out there actually ended up being the most attended event of the year for In-Crowd 815 for our networking events. And she just did a great job of hosting us out there, giving us a chance to network with everybody. A little hayride tour around the cemetery and some explanation about what they do out at Sunset. So that was the part of the recap I didn't really get to last week that I wanted to make sure that we got to this time around. So there we go. I did put together some AI questions of the week for Tom.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if I should save these for after you tell your story.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a story I've told 100 times. It's it'll come out how it comes out, and there'll probably be some things that I forget or that I miss. Or if you ask me a question, I say, well, that's for later. We'll get to that. So, however you want to do it, I don't care.
Okay. Well, why don't we start with your story of your motorcycle accident? And I got to shut this thing off before I'm getting too warm in this room. So hold on just a second.
All righty then.
There we go. I've got a space heater in here because normally during the day, during weekdays, when I keep it cooler in the house, and I want it warmer in the office when I'm working in here. And yeah, so it's too warm in here right now. So I'm going to turn that off.
I am very comfortable. I got my abominable snowman outfit on right now. One thing about me is I like clothes that fit big. I don't know why. It's all about, it's like I like to be swaddled or something. Of course, now that doesn't work because swaddled means it fits snugly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, So I just like to feel comfortable. I like to be, anyway. Where
So
do I begin?
what year was the accident? I guess is where
2004.
what year? 2004.
2004.
So it's been 21
It's
years,
been,
a little
yep,
more than 21
yep.
years.
It's been 21 years. I was working nights at the time. I worked for the Rockford School District, and I was working overnights. I was actually I had left radio because I had no insurance. Because radio, as you well know, yeah, unless you're a big name, unless you really make it, and I probably could have. I was in radio for about 30 years, and I had a good run.
Mm.
But I was let go from my, and it wasn't any. It was just budget cuts. That's all it was. And so I went over to City Hollow. Well, I don't even know what they call it now. Midwest Family, but it was Radio Works is what it was.
Radio
Now I
Works
think
at
it's
the time.
Midwest
Yeah.
Family. I went over there, and I couldn't crack full time. I couldn't get insurance, so I quit that and went into the custodial field, which was really good money. I was working for the school district, working overnights, and the story begins pretty much right there. It was on a Monday, and I was supposed to work that night. And my daughter, I have two daughters. One daughter stayed home from school. My other one called and says, "Dad, I'm not feeling well. You know, can I come home? You give me permission to come home." The office had called. She had called and she was with the office, whatever. And they said, "Sure, absolutely." Well, in the meantime, Melissa, my younger daughter, who had stayed home, had made chocolate pudding. All right. And keep in mind, I'm working overnights. I was woke up by the phone call at about 2 o'clock. So I get up and I thought, you know what? I'm up now. I just bought this new motorcycle. It wasn't brand new, but it was new to me. And I decided I'm going to go run some errands. One of the things I wanted to do was go get a key made for the lock for the baskets in the back, because
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't have a key for it. So I was going to go to Oliphant up on North Second and East State. North Second and East State. No. East Drive and Riverside. Wow, that was weird.
Riverside.
That was weird. Time for more coffee. Anyway,
Mhm.
no, I gotta say, man, just a side note, my brain's not been functioning properly lately. I know my sugars are high. They're way off. So pray for me.
All right.
Anyway, so
All right.
I got up and Carolyn was on her way home. And I think by this time she may have made it home. So maybe she called at 1:15. I don't know. Anyway, I get up and I had some chocolate pudding and I took off. I went to the Goodwill, which was down here on Main Street. Now it's condo apartments. It's condos now. So this is years ago. It used to be a Kmart a long time ago, long before you ever made it to town here. And then it became several different things. It's right by the Pinos. Anyway,
Okay.
so I went to the Goodwill there, and then I took off and I was heading north down North Second Street, down Main Street. Some lady pulled out in front of me and hit me. I ran over the top of her car. Believe it or not, I kid you not, I saw the report. I wouldn't know it otherwise because I don't remember a thing from that whole time period for 12 hours. I hit the back of her end and I flew 63 feet. 63 feet.
Well, even if you're going the speed limit on North Second, you're going 40 miles, 45 miles an hour, right?
No, North Main. But either way, it's about the same. It's 35 is the speed
35
limit.
to 40.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep saying North Second, but anyway, North Main. Not far from my house. They say most accidents happen within a mile of your house. And that's pretty much true.
There it was.
Yeah. So anyway, so it gets really interesting when you add all these things together. So I'm driving along and I don't remember anything. All I remember is the recounting of it from eyewitnesses and the police and the reports and everything. I was laying there for a couple of minutes. And again, I don't remember it, but the 12-hour period from the time I got hit to the time I woke up in the hospital, is a complete blur, and all I have is what everybody else filled in. Well, the interesting thing about it is that my wife was working at the Olympic at the time. The Olympic is down on Fulton in Maine. She had just gotten off work. Well, there were a bunch of police cars and ambulances and such up there, so she couldn't get through. She was going to go to the bank at Northtown. We had Chase Bank, and or Bank One Bank at the time, and so she gets, turns around and goes back and then goes to the bank and then comes home. Melissa meets her at the door because back then we didn't have cell phones. Melissa meets her at the door and says, Dad's been in an accident and he's at the hospital. And she put two and two together and she's like, oh my God, that's what the ambulances are for. Wow. So she comes up to the hospital and by this time I'm in surgery. I was in surgery for about 5 hours. I broke both my legs. I broke my left arm to the point where they were going to take it. I mean, it was so broken in so many places. And then I have a scar, a gash on my head that's about 3 inches long. So they were frantically working on my face, my head, my arm, and my legs at the same time. I literally had 3 to 4 different doctors working on me at the same time. All of this was a culmination of a lot of struggles for me. I'm being very forthright when I say I didn't feel right about life at the time. I knew, and I'm not saying that God gave me the accident. God does not do that. He does not cause accident. He does not cause harm. But what he will do is he will take his hands of protection off us and say, okay, you are on your own for a while. I want to know, how badly do you really want me? How much do you really want to lean on me? Well, that day changed my life. That day changed my life forever, for good. Definitely for good. I had at the time an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 12-year-old. We'd been in our house about 3.5, 4 years, and life was pretty good. I was making good money. Kathy was making good money. And we were doing fine. We were just doing fine. And I don't know. It was one of those things. It was kind of in a rut, but at the same time, it was a very good situation to be in. You got the family, you got the dogs, you got the cats, and and my mom at the time was a legless. She was an amputee. She was double amputee, diabetic. So moving forward for just a second, that year of my recovery between my mom and I, we renewed acquaintances. My mom and I always got along great, but there was a time when we kind of butted heads.
Sure.
It was kind of interesting. Now I'm in a hospital bed. She's in a hospital bed, both of us in our living rooms. And I would call her up at 6 in the morning and, what are you doing? Oh, just laying here. Oh, yeah, me too. It was kind of fun. It was very, very interesting. It was very interesting the way things worked out for me. I was able to reconnect with my mom and completely bond with her. That's very, very, very important stuff. I will get to all of that in a little bit, how important it is to reconnect with your parents. If your parents are getting older, or if you're one of the parents and you got to reconnect with your kids, I strongly encourage you to do it. It's very, very, very important because there's this one word that people don't understand. It's called closure. You have to get closure on life. You have to. Because
sure helps.
Yeah, whoa, boy, I tell you, it's huge. It's huge. And I was very, very lucky. My mom passed away almost a year to the day of my accident. So I had 1 full year to become her best friend again, and it happened. We spent a lot of time together, a lot of time on the phone. So anyway, I come out of surgery, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:15, 1:20, somewhere around in there, and I'm hearing beep, beep, beep. You're in the hospital, and all you can hear is quiet, with the exception of a couple of beeps. And I saw a nurse, and I said, hey, I know where I'm at. How did I get here? What happened? And she said, Mr. Warner, you had a motorcycle accident. Like, great.
Uh,
How's the bike? Is the bike okay? No, it was, I mean, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that explains all the
uh-huh,
contraptions. That explains all
uh-huh.
the pain. By the way, can I have some more Dilaudid or whatever they were giving me? I don't
I'm feeling it again. Yeah, I'm feeling it now.
Yeah,
Hello.
I'm feeling it now. I'm not going to argue with you about a motorcycle accident because A, I remember having a motorcycle, and B, I'm in the hospital with a bunch of contraptions and a sewn up leg and everything else. Well, I didn't have casts on yet because they had to wait a couple
Yeah.
days for the swelling to go down. I had a big leg cast on my left leg, and then I had a cast up to my knee on my right leg because I'd broken bones in the lower leg, and then I'd broken the well, I messed up the knee and a few other things. You've seen the scar on my knee. It's about this
What?
long.
And I remember seeing you a few months after the accident at church, and you were like in this near body cast type thing for your arms, if I remember right. You were,
It was an well, okay. It was a cast on my arm. It's
yeah,
interesting thing. It took a few months. Oh boy, when was it? Um, it was an external fixator is what I had. And that's the
okay.
weirdest thing. You know what an external fixator is, correct? But
That,
no?
that's a new term to me.
Okay, here's what they do, and if this grosses you out, cover your ears, anybody. But what they do is they take your arm. I gotta figure out how to do this camera thing. They drill a hole here, a hole there, a hole here, and a hole there, and then they drill in, and then they put a bar across. The bar, I am trying to.
Mhm.
The
I want to
bar
say
was,
that's what I remember because it
yeah, you
holds
probably
your
remember the
arm
bar. The bar
steady.
was about a foot long. Okay, the bar was about a foot long, and it was from right here to right. Oh God, this camera thing drives me crazy. Anyway, it went from my hand
Almost to your
to
wrist.
almost my elbow. It's about 12 to
Yeah.
13 inches long. I used to hit myself with it all the time. It was crazy.
I
It was
is now my if my memory serves me right, it would have been like around Easter time that I saw you
yes,
at church with this.
yes, it was.
So it was like March or April of 2004 or 5.
It was oh 04. It was oh 04 because my accident
So
happened.
2004.
Yeah, my accident happened March 20th of 2004. The funny thing is, one of my I've always had many jobs, just like you and me. That's one of the things why we bond so well, because both of us are
Mhm.
always so busy. We're always working multiple jobs. I was actually working at Domino's at the time. My accident
Mhm.
happened right in front of Domino's on the other
Right
side of
there.
the street. There's a CPA's office, and then there is a Taco John's, which no longer is in operation. It was opening 2 weeks after my accident. It was set to open, and I was looking so forward to going to Taco John's. I wanted to be the first customer there, right? So, boy, I
Yeah.
tell you what, this trip down memory lane, it's exhausting. But anyway, so I I wake up and I'm asking her what happened, and she, as best as she could, explained to me what she had, what the family said, what the doctor said, what the police said, whatever. And she was explaining to me what had happened, and I'm like, okay, I'm putting two and two together now, and I'm trying to remember the day, and the last thing I can remember is leaving the house, telling the girls I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
8 days later, I came back. So I was in the hospital for a week and a day. I was in there for 8 days. Well, Monday to Monday, technically 8 days,
Yeah.
but they called it 7. So whatever. I did because I wasn't officially admitted till after midnight, even though I was in surgery from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock that night. I wasn't
Yeah. No, you were
officially admitted.
in emergency
Well, the
recovery
interesting
until the
thing
next
about
day.
it, gotta love the insurance companies. The interesting thing about it is somehow or another, because they said I was only in for 7 days and not more than 7 days, they got out of paying a certain amount of. Yeah,
Of course.
it was crazy. It was, you'd have to ask Kathy about all of that. So anyway, so the next few days, the next week, I was in the hospital all day, every day. Couldn't get I couldn't go anywhere. They didn't even get me into a wheelchair. I was just too fragile. The injuries were still
No.
too new. I had road rash on my face. In fact, you can see it. I've showed you before. I'll show you next time I see you in person. I've got a scar that starts here and comes all the way down through here. That's because I think this is what happened. They said my glasses went through my face.
Uh-huh.
So here's where it gets really interesting. Now, why would my glasses go through my face? Wouldn't your helmet had protected you from all of that? No, wasn't wearing a helmet.
No.
I was not wearing a helmet. I had stupidly, and I say stupidly, I mean I don't begrudge anybody who doesn't wear a helmet. And I've ridden a bike a few times since, and I still haven't worn a helmet. But to answer your question that you're probably going to ask me at some point, because everybody does. Do I still ride? No, I do not. I do not.
No.
The other question everybody asks, and it's interesting. Women ask, were you wearing a helmet? Guys ask, what kind of bike was it? It was a Honda 750 is what it was.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you the question that I have. The first question that I have. My number one question is: at what point in your hospital stay did you come to the realization you were lucky to still be alive?
That's an excellent question. And it wasn't in the hospital. It was after I got home and everything had settled in. I had come home the following Monday night, almost exactly 1 week to the time of the accident. It was about 7 o'clock at night, maybe 8 o'clock. It was dark. And in March, maybe 6:45. I don't know. The ambulance, the very ambulance that picked me up and took me to the hospital, was the same ambulance guys that brought me home. They had set up a bed in my living room, which is where I lived for 4 months in a bed. My brother-in-law, Archie, you know Archie, construction guy. Archie came over and he took a door, cut it in half, because we have this big archway. And now that wall's gone. We took the wall out. But anyway, we had this big archway. And it was perfect for cut a door in half and have two sliding doors so that the dogs couldn't come in and jump on me. Because we had a couple of big dogs, good sized dogs, Veda sized dogs. And so that was kind of important. So we had the whole setup. We had it going on. So anyway. So in the hospital,
thank you,
I did sit and reflect. I did have enough time to kind of reflect. After about 2 days being home, it was maybe the Tuesday, maybe the Wednesday, I just started tearing up. Like, what have I done? What this significant, I will never run again. I will never play ball again. I'll probably never drive a car again. I mean, all these thoughts were going through my head.
Yeah.
I'll never do this again. I'll never do that again. I am lucky to be alive. And the lucky to be alive thing, I think I did think about that pretty much early on, a day or two later. Yeah. I think I did. But the realization of what hit, and that was the bigger thing for me, was a couple of days after I'd gotten home, after everything settled down. Everybody was gone. The kids were now back at school. She was at work, and I was just sitting there, and I just started tearing up. And I started really crying. I don't mean like, but you know what I mean? The tears were coming down, and I was reflecting.
Well, yeah. You get to that realization how fragile life is, and you just survived something that you had no business surviving. You weren't wearing a helmet. You were,
you're exactly right. And great segue. Thank you for that. And I know we didn't rehearse any of this at a time. The not wearing a helmet. Everybody would say, "Were you wearing a helmet?" And I would say, "No, I wasn't. No, wasn't wearing a helmet." And then I thought, wait a minute. God shared this with me. The fact that I wasn't wearing a helmet, and you've seen the scar on my head. I think you have. It's about 2 to 3 inches long. I'm surprised my brains weren't coming out. I'm pretty sure I lost some brain cells in the accident.
Well, anyone that meets you today would not know that you'd ever been in such a horrific accident. You're
right. You're right. Because I'm fully normal mentally, I'm pretty sure.
Very little external evidence that this happened to you until you tell a little
Right.
bit about the story.
Right. Or
Yeah.
if they see me walk when I'm really hurting, they might say, "Oh, you walk with a little bit of a limp," and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so, I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. God miraculously healed me. I will never be 100%. And I don't expect to be. And I don't want to be. I am who I am, and I am completely cool with it. And I will say this, and this is a good life lesson that works for me. It may not work for you, and it may not work for anybody watching. Do not spend one day regretting what happened. Do not spend one day being angry about what happened. Do not spend one day being mad at the person who hit me. Because quite frankly, had I not gone to Goodwill that day, she wouldn't have hit me. Right? I mean, it's goofy logic because but it's all a time and a place. It's the butterfly effect.
I think about that all the time. How timing is
Yeah.
everything. I mean,
Yeah. And how many times do you think God has saved us from an accident because, darn it, I missed that light. If I'd have just been a half second sooner, I could have hit that and made the light. But then maybe at the next light, someone sideswipes me. We take those things for granted. We do. So slow down and let life be life. And I don't mean sit back and just kind of like do nothing and be careful. Oh, I don't want to go to the store because, well, I don't want to get into an accident. No, don't quit living, but just quit living dangerously. Quit living scared. Quit living fearful. So, here's what happened with the whole helmet thing. My head was bleeding, and this is why Dr. Harriet, oh goodness, I met her at our church because I used to go to First Assembly. Harriet, you know her. Her and her husband do missionary work.
Oh, Dr. Labe.
Yes, Dr. Labe.
Dr. Labe,
Harriet,
Dr. Helen
right?
Labe.
Helen.
Helen.
Helen Labe. My mom's first name is Helen. Dr. Helen Labe. That's right. I'm so sorry I forgot that. A lot of things going through my head right now. Dr. Helen Labe was the one who patched me up, and she did a miraculous job. She really did. Wow. And they were all working frantically on me. And I don't have firsthand account. I have to have eyewitness.
Her daughter became a doctor, by the way. If you didn't know, Amy's a doctor now too.
That's
traveling.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Anyway, so Dr. Helen Labe, I remember that now. And Dr. David McCarty. Dr. David McCarty. He's the one that said, after they said we're going to take the arm, he said, no, let me work on it. He put it back together. And that's when I got the fixator. Now, keep in mind, a fixator is usually 6 to 8 weeks. I had it for 6 months.
And this guy wants to ask you a question about that.
Oh, absolutely.
VK Kellen says, ask him about shocking himself through his external fixator.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's probably my son. Oh yeah. Yeah. Wow. VK Kellen.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Okay, VK. I'll see you later, buddy. Yeah. I don't know if it's my son. I don't know.
Was it accidental, or were you actually trying to just to see what it would happen?
Around. The kids and I were hanging out, and I had this battery tester where it may not have been my son. I don't know who that is, but it's somebody who knows the story. Yep. Not many people know the story. All right, fine. I had a battery tester, and I put it on one end, and then I put it on the other end, and I went. I mean, I jumped, and all the kids they laugh about it to this day. They laugh
was
about
it like a 9 volt? Because a 9 volt would really get you, wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was. And I mean, I'm like, whoa, that kind of hurt. I felt it all through my arm. So the interesting
and think about how positive that is, that you felt that.
It was
right?
positive. Yeah. It was positive and negative. All meeting at the same time. Woo. Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. My bone, my arm, I saw the x-rays, it looked like a puzzle. It did. So kudos, God bless Dr. McCarty for having the courage, the wisdom the wherewithal to say, you know what, let's save the arm, because my wife had said, I can't make that decision. I don't know.
If it's salvageable, save it. If not, right.
Yeah, no, it was bad. All right, so I don't want to get too far off track because there's a lot of stuff I need to fill in along the way. So
No.
VK Kellen, if that's your real name, I'll get to that. All of that stuff in a little bit. There's another part of the whole Fixiter story. All right, so I'm not even. Again, this is every time I do this whole story, I get so much going through my head because there's so many little details, and I don't want to give you every single detail. You don't need to know that I had a cheeseburger that afternoon or whatever. Who cares? So, I was in the hospital for 8 days, came home, and now life begins brand new. Now life begins brand new. I'm completely. Yeah, like I said, this is difficult because I'm recounting a lot of this stuff as I go, and I haven't thought about this for a while. But all I know is that God gave me a second chance, and that was the most important part about this whole thing. God gave me a second chance, and I think I've well, I looked at my son, who was at the time 12 years old, and I was homeschooling him at the time. Had I been
Yeah.
homeschooling him? I think I had. I'd been homeschooling him for a little while because I was working nights. So I was homeschooling him, and our bond became even closer. And I realized that this was kind of my wake up call. But what this was most importantly was God saying, you know what? Your work here isn't done. You have 3 kids. You've got a family, you got a house, you got this, you got that, you got responsibilities. So it was God's way of saying to me, don't worry, I got your back. Here's where I was going with the whole helmet thing, no helmet. I would sheepishly say, no, I wasn't wearing a helmet. And then God shared this with me. Had I been wearing a helmet and I would have survived like I did, the helmet gets the credit for saving my life. Because there wasn't a helmet, because I had that massive gash on my head and I should have been dead, I should have been dead. There is no way on God's green earth that I should have survived. I've seen lesser accidents many times where people have died. I should have.
You hit the wrong blood vessel and it's going to leak a lot faster and you're not going to be it's not recoverable.
Yeah, the paramedics did tell me. They said, look, if this would have happened on Main Street, like by Roscoe or something like that, you would have either had to have been ambulanced there or airlifted there. You'd have probably been dead. I was probably 3 to 4 minutes from the bright lights, probably.
Right.
So anyway,
right.
But now I can say with absolute authority, no, God spared me. God's angels spared me. No question about it. No question about it in my mind. So that was the most important. That was the most significant thing that came out of this. So whenever I tell my story, I always make sure I include that, because that was the part that really, truly, when I thought about it, that was the part that really, truly hit home with me. That yes, God was there. He was there, despite the fact that I was careless. I quit riding. I've ridden 2 to 3 times since then. One time, okay, so here's what I can say. I upgraded my motorcycle. The motorcycle I used to have was sitting in my garage. It hadn't run for 6 months, since the year before. And I parked it, and I didn't know if I was ever going to ride again. Well, then I started getting the bug, and I bought another bike. I bought it for a little cheaper than what it should have been because it was older, but it was a nice bike. It was a good sized bike. It was a Honda 750, had the Windjammer on it and everything. And that was the one I crashed. So I still had the other bike. Well, one day in August, and this was, March, April, May, June, July, August, and early part of September. It was late August. It was Labor Day weekend. So it was 6 months, 5.5 months that I had the Fixiter on for. I went outside to try to start the bike. I was going to get rid of it. I was going to sell it. It wouldn't start, wouldn't start, wouldn't start. Charged the battery, wouldn't start, wouldn't start. And then I realized, you know what? I need to drain the gas tank. So with one arm, I basically still had the fixer on. With one arm, I took the gas tank off, poured it into a bucket, poured the gas into a bucket, put it back on, put new gas in, and I finally got it started. And it was running rough. It was, I mean, it was awful. It sounded awful.
But you got it running. You actually got it running.
I went down to Ron's house. You know Ron, our mutual friend. I drove it down the street. Now I could not shift it. I couldn't shift it because I still had the fixer on. So I rode it.
Oh my gosh.
Huh?
Oh my gosh. That's wild.
Yeah, so I rode it in
first
first gear. It was just down the street and around the corner. It's literally 2,000 steps or whatever, if that. So I rode it down to Ron's house. He wasn't home. Chris, his wife, comes out and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I needed to test the bike." In the meantime, since I had already put it in the paper to try and sell the bike, this guy had come by on Saturday morning and I couldn't get it started. He came back Saturday afternoon, couldn't get it started. He came back Sunday, I couldn't get it started. Now it's Monday. Actually, it was Sunday night when I got it started. Sunday night. He was getting ready to go to the Labor Day thing, on the waterfront. And I finally got it started. He finally came back over. Well, here's the interesting thing. Because of the accident, I had cashed in my 401k. I had cashed in, because I spent 3 years out of work. I cashed in my pension. I cashed in everything just to keep the house.
Mm-hmm.
We were stone broke. He gave me $300 for the bike. $300. It was well worth it. It was a good bike. It was a Suzuki 450, something like that. Suzuki 550 is what it was. That's what it was. It was a great bike. So he gave me $300 for the bike. We were planning on going to the movie. We'd scrape together 10 or 12 bucks because the movies were $1.50 at Northtown. We were going to go there. We didn't have money for popcorn, but that was okay. We were going to go see a movie. Well, we went to the movie and we splurged. We got popcorn and we got pop and maybe some candy. I don't know. So that was another God moment as far as I was concerned. Okay, so moving on. The rest of it is the home stretch here. So we went to the movie that night and all was right with the world. Come back home and I no longer had a bike, so there was no chance of me ever riding a bike again. So I've ridden it twice since then. A buddy of mine that I used to work with was buying a motorcycle. He didn't have a motorcycle license. I still have mine. He wanted me to go test drive it, so I did. And this is years later. This is 3 or 4 years after my accident. So I went and test drove it. And then the other time I rode is Matthew had asked me if I wanted to go ride my son-in-law's bike. And he was going to ride a friend of his, another bike. So we went on a little excursion. That was the last time I rode. And I don't have any desire to ride anymore.
No.
Because God saved me once. He spared me once. I'm not going to tempt the hand of fate. So out of all of this came a renewed sense of life, a renewed sense of purpose for me. And I thank God every single day that I'm alive. That's a lie. That would denote that I'm on my knees praying and saying, God, thank you that I'm alive. I don't do that every day. I'm sorry. I hate to admit that because we all get lax in our Christian walk. We all do. I'm the biggest culprit there. But I do thank God on a regular basis for everything that I have, whatever it is. It's a house, it's cars, it's a nice family, it's animals, it's my computer, my podcast, my friends, everybody. I have a lot to be thankful for. And without God in my life, I would have been dead, period. I wouldn't have the family that I have. I wouldn't have the grandkids. The grandkids would exist. I just wouldn't be here to enjoy them.
Yeah.
The granddaughters would exist. I just wouldn't be here to enjoy them. So there's a lot good that came out of that. Now I choose. This is a choice we all have to make. I choose to be happy. I choose not to be angry, not to be bitter, not to think about it in a negative way. And that's a choice that we all have to make. It was an easy choice for me. what am I going to do? Complain, cry, moan, groan? I'm not going to do any of the above. I'm going to just simply live life to the fullest. Now, I've played softball since then. I'm not very good at it, but I can pitch. I can still pitch.
You're still there, yeah.
And you should see me chugging down to first base. The doctor told me when he, I have a steel plate in my foot. I have a steel rod in my foot, a steel plate in my arm. I've lost a couple. I lost a couple teeth in the accident. They didn't go right then and there, but over time, over a couple of years, they had loosened because I'd lost one in the accident, and then a couple more have loosened. So I'm missing a couple teeth up here. But anyway,
yeah,
maybe dentures one day. Maybe not. Probably not. I'm good. I could chew on the other side.
And you still got your teeth at your age, so hey, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
way to go.
So that's basically it. I mean, the crux of it is rely on God and thank God and everything else, and life will take care of itself. I don't overthink anything, and I try not to ever get too stressed about anything. I really don't. I'm much more laid back than I ever was. Much more, because it's important. It's not the job. It's not football. It's not the Green Bay Packers, although they're awesome and I love them. And I can't wait until, tonight and this and that. But that's all secondary stuff. Family, God, and God and family and friends. And then everything else is icing on the cake. So that's basically my story. And there's so much more to it, but I've taken up enough time with it. You got the gist of it, I think.
That's good. No, I appreciate you sharing it, and I think people needed to hear that. The other question before I get to our AI questions of the week, because I did get AI to give me some questions for you this week. Before we get to that, you don't remember the accident, but do you remember at all flying through the air after hitting that car?
Nope.
That's
the
all
last
gone.
thing I remember is shutting the door, saying to the girls, "I'll see you in a bit." That's the last thing I remember. By the way, when they didn't pump my stomach, I was throwing up. They thought I was throwing up blood. I was throwing up chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
That was the significance of the chocolate pudding. Yeah.
And that's where the chocolate pudding reappears
Yes.
in the story.
Yes. It was there is one other element that I wanted to incorporate here. This is an important one. In fact, this might be the most important part of all. My mom, as I mentioned, was legless. She was diabetic. She had lived a year after my accident. In fact, she died March 14th, 6 days before the first anniversary of my accident. And my mom got the call. And by the way, my dad and my mom together at the house. My sister and her son were living with them because my sister was acting as her caretaker to help my dad. My mom got the call and she's like, "Tommy's been in an accident." And my sister grabs the phone and, or my dad, whichever, I'm not sure. So everybody went up to the hospital. Everybody except my mom. Can you imagine laying there with no legs, no way of knowing whether her son is going to live or die, because it was touch and go. I was in critical condition when I went in, and I was in stable condition when they finished up with me. Once you hit stable condition, you're good. Thank God, we're good. But for 5 hours, my mom, all she could do was lay there and wonder, is my baby, because I'm the youngest of 4, is my baby going to make it or not? And at that point, I said, I'm not ever going to put her or my own nuclear family through that again. So now that I mentioned, I rode a couple times, controlled rides. This happened 2:08 in the afternoon on March 20th, right out in literally. And by the way, I got hit by the CPA's office right across from Domino's, and I ended up in the parking lot, the entryway of Taco John's. Fortunately, it wasn't open yet. It was 2 weeks from being open. And so that's how I know how far I flew. And there were eyewitnesses that said, yeah, he flew for 63 feet. How in the world did I survive? So anyway, that was the interesting thing about all that. So the whole idea to never ride again, at least not ride significantly, was made that day when I thought about it. As soon as I was able to think about my mom laying there, not knowing, and that's something
Right.
you can't. That is the most selfish to do. You can't put that on somebody. And I don't mean if you ride a bike, you're selfish. I'm not calling you selfish. You make that decision for yourself. I'm saying for me, it felt selfish. It felt like if I go back to riding a bike, I'm doing it for me and I don't care about the rest of the family. I don't care about anybody else. I made the decision for myself. I don't think motorcycle riders are selfish. I think it's a lot of fun. And you know what? If you want to do it, go for it. Have fun. Just be very, very
Right.
careful.
Right.
But understand,
careful.
but understand the ramifications, should there be any.
Oh yeah, the risks are different.
Yep.
The risks are so different. Well, I've got, again, I do have some AI questions of the week, and this week they're all about Tom. This is the Tom Warner episode of
Yeah,
the
I
In Crowd
saw
815
that. I'm like,
podcast,
wow,
ladies and gentlemen.
I've made it.
And when I asked AI to give me some questions, here's what it gave me. It says, Tom Warner is a staple of the Rockford community, and because he's a trivia master, likely enjoys questions that dig into the why and how behind the facts. So here are 3 questions tailored to his background in trivia, local media, and the In Crowd 815 podcast. Question number 1. As a trivia master, you spend your life looking for facts that are just hard enough. What is your personal philosophy on what makes a perfect trivia question? Is it about the obscurity of the fact or the satisfaction the player feels when they finally dig the answer out of their memory?
Very good question. I use the 50-50, 60-40, 70-30 rule. All right.
Okay.
Those are my parameters. If 10 people answer the question, i.e. 10 teams, and 7 of them get it right and 3 of them get it wrong, we're good. 6 of them get it right, 3 of them get it wrong, or 4 of them get it wrong, we're good. Half of them get it right, half of them get it wrong, we're good. When you get up into 80-20, I'll even accept that on some questions, 90-10, or everybody gets it wrong, or everybody gets it right, not good. That is point number 1 when I do trivia. Now, if there's, it doesn't matter how many questions you have. If I have 10 questions, 5 will be in the category of slightly hard, maybe you're going to really have to think about it, and 5 of them are going to be pretty much general knowledge. But if I were to ask you, what cereal is magically delicious? You're going to say
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms. But guess what? Team B over there might say, oh my goodness, I think it's Frosted Flakes. They're magically delicious. You know what I'm saying? So even the easy questions are going to be easy for people who know it. And I've heard this said many times. Well, all the questions are easy if you know the answer. Yes,
but you doubt yourself too.
But you're the one person on your team that knows the answer. The other 7 do not, or that other team over there, nobody knows it. So, and I also have a rule where I will try very hard to have a very eclectic mix of questions. I will have, okay, well, I got a political question. I'm going to do a sports question. I think I might do a movie question. I'm going to maybe throw in an advertising question. I might even throw in a birthday question or on this day in history. Well, now I've covered 5, 6, 7 different categories. And I think that's extremely important. I think it's extremely important when you're making a trivia quiz.
Yeah, I like that philosophy. It's you gotta have the occasional 80-20 or 90-10 question, but the majority of the questions should be 50-50, 60-40.
You've done enough of my trivia to know that what I always like to say is, hey, this might be the easiest question of the night. I will give you hints. And one hint is don't overthink this. So in other words, if I say I don't know, a question like, well, how many tires does a motorcycle have? You're like, oh, wait. It's got to be a trick question. No, don't overthink it. Means it is exactly as easy as it sounds. There are 2 tires. Now, somebody could say, yeah, but if you got a sidecar, whatever. There's always anyway, next question.
All right, next question. The ungoogleable factor. We live in an era where everyone has the answer to everything in their pocket. So how has the smartphone age changed the way you host trivia events? And do you think it's made us more or less curious as a society?
I love this question. Point number one. When I first started playing trivia back in 2017, it was February of 2017, Dr. Johnny,
Dr. John.
by the way, Dr. John's doing trivia on New Year's Eve.
Wednesdays?
Rascals.
Rascals, yep.
Come one,
Wednesdays
come
and
all. And if you're watching this after the show in the feed, and if it's before Wednesday evening, come out to Rascals at 7 o'clock. Dr. Johnny puts on a pretty good show. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, shameless plug there. I get no money for it, so it wasn't whatever. John had asked me for a while. He'd say, we need a sports guy. We need a sports guy. Okay, fine, I'll come. I went and immediately I was hooked. In the early parts of me playing trivia at Gene's place up there on Harrison and Mulford, Alpine and Harrison. In the early parts, they had a question, and it was kind of a poorly worded question. And you know how I feel about poorly worded questions. If you're going to ask a question, reread it, check your sources, do whatever you have to do. Well, this tells me that Chicagoland Trivia, and they're good people. It's a good trivia. They're not real sports minded. I am the sports guy. I know a good question from a bad question. The question was, and I'm not going to remember it verbatim, so I'll paraphrase it.
Yeah.
This NBA team was in the playoffs. I can't remember how it went, but it was this NBA team made the playoffs for the first time since 2008 or something like that. And the way the question was worded, even if you would have Googled it, you get on your phone, what NBA team just made the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get 7 or 8 teams because it applied to 7 or 8 teams the way the question was asked. There was one little nuance in there that meant you had to go here. No, that's not it. And go here and then there. 4 generations, because I tried it afterwards. 4 generations, and I finally found the answer. The answer was Detroit Pistons. And it was a horrible question. So when I'm doing a trivia quiz, this is what makes these things so bad and so dangerous, is that you can literally put it here and go, what is the capital of California? That's all you have to say. And it comes up, oh, hey, I think the answer is Sacramento. That's how simple it is. Look, if you want to cheat at trivia, there are 100 different ways to cheat and to cheat easily. You could make a living off of it. But that's why a $25 gift card is not so enticing that it's going to cause people to cheat.
No.
Okay.
No.
And so as far as that, there's nothing you can do about it except for, I call it the respect factor. Everybody at Louis, you've been to Louis enough. Those people are just some of the most incredible people I've ever met. I have made so many great relations, DJ'd weddings for them. I've done trivia nights for them at different venues, stuff like that. And then of course, we have a lot of fun. We do birthdays and we do this and we do that. And I've had my own trivia events that people come to, and not just people from Louis, but people from all over the places where I do my trivia. My friends. I mean, you've come to a couple of my trivia events. You come to trivia every Wednesday night, and I love having you there. So we're so it's an amazing group, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that nobody at Louis is cheating. There's one team I suspect at one place that could be, maybe, I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter. So I try to get around it by, I have my ways.
There you go. All right.
But
right.
One other thing with this, it's I always kind of put the appeal out there. I say, look, if you gotta cheat at trivia, then you have to sleep at night. You have to put your head on that pillow at night. And that's the one thing that I hope makes a difference.
Yeah. It's a lot more fun when you play it out for real. And
that's right.
The satisfaction of winning is actually satisfying when you're like, hey, we made the top 3 this week.
I once saw a team that I suspected, and I did catch them eventually. This is years ago. I did catch them eventually. I saw them not react to an answer they got. That was the most obscure question. The most obscure. In fact, I was actually tricking them. I had played a song in the music
That's
round that was so obscure, and they nailed it. And I'm
yeah,
watching. I was watching.
and they didn't react.
They didn't react. They kind of looking
Yeah,
around. Nobody high
there's
five.
there's a satisfaction when you get a tough question right, and
That's right.
if there's no satisfaction, you must have been cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, all right. Well, last of the 3 serious questions before I get to the funny one. All right. Through the In Crowd 815 podcast, Tom, you've interviewed a wide variety of local movers and shakers, from nonprofits and business owners. After nearly 300 episodes, next week will be our 300th episode. What have you learned about the DNA of Rockford that you maybe didn't realize when you first started this podcast?
What I've learned about the DNA of Rockford is something I actually have known for a while, but this has solidified it. People from Rockford are unlike any other place. I've never really lived anywhere else other than Beloit for about 3 years, and Beloit's a fine community as well. But there's something special about Rockford. You can say what you want about Rockford. You can throw all that out the window. When something needs to happen, i.e., there's a memorial fund, there's downtown Rockford, the first night, not first night, we don't do that anymore. What's the other one we do after Thanksgiving? Stroll on State.
Well, Stroll on
Stroll
State,
on
yeah.
State. I mean, my goodness, people come out. People come out to support it. People will hand over money to entities they don't even know. Like, well, this is for my cousin Bob's cancer fund or something like that. Well, you know what? Let me donate. This is such a wonderful community when it comes to people doing essentially God's work. People doing good for the community. It's a very tight-knit community. What do they call it? The biggest small town in the United
It's a big
States.
small
It
town,
truly
yeah.
is. It has a small town feel, but it's a
Small
big town. There's a lot of bad that goes on in this town, just like there is in Boise, Idaho, Omaha, Nebraska, Boston, Massachusetts. It doesn't matter. You've got you've got
I
lots
wanted to
of
put
good
this on
and
because
some bad.
fourthandlights.com, for those who maybe don't know, the Festival of Lights and the 4th of July celebration fireworks, none of that is paid for by the community. It's paid for by the community.
Yeah.
It's donations. None of it's paid for by your taxes.
Right.
So
I know what you meant.
if you have not yet driven through the Festival of Lights at Sinisippi Park, they are 5 to 10:30 tonight, tomorrow night, and New Year's Eve before it's all done. So fourthandlights.com has information on that. And of course, celebrating 36 years of lighting up Sinisippi Park, free drive-through event, donations accepted. And so many people donate that it keeps getting done every year, year after year. And the money that this organization raises helps put on the Festival of Lights and the 4th of July fireworks celebration every year too. So yeah, it's a special thing. It's a special thing.
It really is.
So, all right. So the last question that I have for you from AI is I don't know if you even have an answer for this one. So if you don't, I'll go to one of the other ones. But this is kind of a quirky question. Every town has that one weird landmark or a local cryptid. If you had to convince a tourist that Rockford is the secret home to something that's absolutely ridiculous, how would you sell that story? Is there anything that you want to tell your buddy from Seattle about Rockford that actually isn't true, but you're like,
well, my buddy from Seattle grew up here, so he wouldn't believe it.
Maybe there's a grain of truth to something, but you want to sell. I couldn't think of anything on this one either. That's why I was kind of hesitating whether or not I should ask this to you or not. But.
Well, there's a home down on the Rock River, and I don't remember where it is. It's not National Avenue, but it's like a little further down. And back in the day, Al Capone had his, for a short while, for like 2 months, 3 months, he had his headquarters there in the basement. A lot of people don't know that. Yep. And
Yeah.
and it was kind of interesting because I think I'd read some reports where the local police were kind of watching it, and that's what made them bug out. And this is like 25, 27, somewhere around in there. So
Somebody ratted them out.
somebody ratted them out. So that's what I would tell them. Now, does it have to be a true story or not?
Yeah, this is just, if you had to convince a tourist Rockford is the secret home to something ridiculous, like a secret colony of psychic squirrels in Sinisippi Park, something. Al Capone's temporary headquarters. That's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, but it was completely false. So I thought we were going with make up something, and yeah. Okay.
Well, here's the other one that maybe this is better. As a trivia host, you're always the one with the answers. If you are a contestant and you got a question wrong about yourself, what would the question be? And what hilariously incorrect answer would you have given? That's a weird question.
I would say an IQ question. I would say, Tom, what's your IQ? I don't know, 140, 145. In reality, it's probably 88 or 90. So I think that one wrong.
We like to think ourselves as smarter than we actually are. We're just
pretty sure it's a little above 100. I hope.
All right. Well, let's where are we? Let's take care of this right now. Let's wrap things up with our big number of the week, as we're currently tied 5-5, and the big number this week is a really big one, 4 billion. And you had texted me your answer from the beginning of the show. So hold on a second. Typo. Let me fix my typo.
Yeah, you better be giving me my point if I
we talked about the fact that earlier this month the state line area got as much snow in basically 1 week as we got in all last winter season.
Oh yeah, by far.
And now it's almost all gone, and which is kind of funny and sad because my grandkids are up from Texas and wanted to experience some snow, and there's hardly any left.
Tell them to go to the Walmart parking lot.
There we go. There's piles of dirty, icky snow.
Piles of snow. Yeah, it's dirty.
The Federal Highway Administration says the United States spends a lot of money plowing and clearing snow every year. And guess how much that is on average?
I'm hoping $4 billion.
$4 billion. Tom is taking the point on this one. Yes, the answer is plows. Yes. Plowing and clearing snow. Of course, that is adjustable every year because of how much snow and ice that we get. Some years it's a whole lot more. Some years it's a whole lot less. And the last couple of years, we've gotten away kind of on the cheap here in Rockford. So it's probably going to hit us. We're probably going to have to make up for that this year. That's the way the weather seems to work anyway. So the other big number this week, the poinsettia plant, ubiquitous to Christmas, of course. It's a Christmas staple. Every year, just after Thanksgiving, the poinsettia seems to emerge en masse at nurseries, big box retailers, fundraisers, holiday parties. The Cosmo Club here in the Rockford area, they sell so many poinsettias. They raise tons of money for what they do for not-for-profits around here. So kudos to the Cosmos for all the poinsettias. Literally, I think thousands of poinsettias that they sell every year. One of those popular plants in the world, annual sales about 90 million units, and a global retail impact of nearly $1 billion. The whole backstory of the poinsettia is this guy named Poinsett. I think his name was John Poinsett. When he discovered this flower in Central America and brought it back here, he was like enamored with it, but it wouldn't last more than 3 days. It died really quickly. And so he actually had to test and genetically engineer what we have today as the poinsettia so that it lasted more than 3 days. And
wow,
once he figured it out, he made tons of money until someone else reverse engineered what he did with his, and nurseries all over the country started making these poinsettias because they became so popular. But for a time there, they owned the Poinsett family basically became millionaires after engineering the poinsettia flower.
Could he have trademarked that?
I wonder. Or maybe I wonder if he did.
I don't think you could because it's nature. I mean,
yeah. So it took them a long time to reverse engineer what he did to make them last longer than 3 days. Once they did, though, it obviously cut into their profits, and eventually they sold their company. I think it was in 2003 when they sold it to some big company that took over what was left of the Poinsett family's poinsettia business. So anyway, congratulations, Tom. You are now ahead of 65.
Merry Christmas to me. All right, so is it poinsettia or poinsettia? See, that's the big.
I'm of the mind it's poinsettia. Everything I've heard is poinsettia, and that's how it is spelled. So that's what I'm going with, and I'm sticking to it. And Tom's connection just went kaput. Not totally surprised. Next week here on the show, we hope to have the guest that was scheduled for us today. She had to reschedule, had a family emergency. We're looking forward to talk with Nancy Clark, our president of the Rockford She-Vet chapter, Northwestern Veterans United or something. I forget what the main overarching umbrella is of that, but it's a veterans group for female military veterans. And our scheduled guest for next episode number 300, will be from Rockford Robotics. We're going to talk with Jeff Wilcia again. Looking forward to hearing what Jeff has to say about the Rockford Robotics team again, and also what he might have planned for our In-Crowd 815 networking group event, which Rockford Robotics will be hosting later on in 2026. And we lost Tom. I think that's going to wrap things up for us today. Remember, friends, you change the world when you help one person. Be a blessing to someone this week and all the rest of this year, and plan to do it for all the year ahead. Tom, there he is. You came back for at least to say goodbye. Hello.
Okay. Was I gone or were you gone?
You just disappeared off my screen.
You were frozen.
Oh,
you were. I've been talking for the last 2 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah,
well,
very interesting.
I just wrapped things up to let people know next week Rockford Robotics will be on. Jeff Wilcia, we've hit him on before. We'll be having him on again and talk about the Rockford Robotics team here in the state line, and he'll be hosting an In-Crowd 815 networking group event later on in 2026 as well. So we'll talk about that. And we hope
before you go, we got to do a prediction here. What are you thinking for tonight's game?
We have an interesting game tonight because the Ravens, are they technically still in the hunt?
They are not. Right? I don't think they are. I think they are. Because Pittsburgh, I think they're a game apart. So yeah, I believe the Ravens are still technically in the hunt, but it would be for the division only. All Pittsburgh has to do is win one of two. And they win. And then all Baltimore has to do. I think Baltimore has to win 2 and Pittsburgh has to lose 1.
Okay, here's Pro Football Network says that the Ravens playoff scenarios, they can still make the postseason. Can they still make the postseason? Ravens have made the playoffs 12 of the last 17 seasons. They had high expectations for this year. It's highly in doubt now. When they lost to the Patriots, Ravens still have a path to reach the postseason, but they're going to need some help, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and they would have to win out. So that means they would have to beat the Packers tonight and then beat the Steelers in week 18.
Well, that'll be both the game right there. If the Ravens win tonight, which I hope they don't, then next weekend, week 17, well, game 17, week 18, that will be determining who goes where. Now, if Green Bay wins both of their games, and I expect them to, I think they're going to beat Baltimore because you've got backup versus backup. Malik Willis versus Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley has played a bunch more games than so I give the edge to quarterback to Tyler Huntley only slightly. I give the edge in the offensive line and in receiving to the Packers, but I give the edge in running to Baltimore with Derrick Henry. But then you switch it over to the defensive side, and I give the edge to Green Bay for the defensive line, the linebackers, and the secondary, overall defense. And will they stop Derrick Henry? Yeah, they will. They held Chicago to not nearly what Chicago's been doing. They held Detroit to monumentally low numbers both times. So yeah, that Packers defense is for real. So I think the Packers defense versus the Ravens offense is where this game is going to be won and lost. And I'm pretty sure I think the Packers are going to win this game. But I said that against Denver, and then I said it about Chicago. So I was wrong both times. So who knows? We'll see. I really do believe, though, that Chicago's going to lose to San Francisco. We're going to beat Baltimore. And then the following week, it's going to come down to a Packer win, a Chicago loss. If Detroit gets their heads out of their rears and says, you know what, we want to play spoiler, then we're good. If Green Bay, man, it happened again. I don't know.
Another reset. There we go.
Wow. Was I out or were you out?
Well, this mine said connection lost, so it must have been me that time.
Okay. I think everybody else heard it. All I'm saying is I think Green Bay's defense is going to be better than Baltimore's offense. And then I think Green Bay's going to win tonight and then win next week against Minnesota because they're going to need it. I think Chicago's going to lose to San Francisco. It's going to come down to Chicago-Detroit next week. And what I said was I hope Detroit can get their heads out of their rear ends and actually play some football, actually get innovative like we've known them to be for the last couple of years. Remember, 3 years ago now, Aaron Rodgers last year with the Packers. The Packers were 8-8, and they were looking to go 9-8 and take that last wild card spot. They lost to Detroit at home. This is when we started thinking that this Detroit team has something. They got something going on there. So anyway, I hope Detroit can take care of business and beat Chicago. So if Chicago loses 2, the Packers win 2, Green Bay wins the division. Now everybody's saying, wait a minute. This is Chicago. They've already beaten Green Bay once. They've shown that they have this amazing ability to come back. Yes, they have. But when Jackson Dart went out, they came back and won. When Jordan Love went out, they came back and won. All these games. In fact, I'm not even sure that in the Washington game, I'm pretty sure Jaden Daniels went out and they came back and won that game as well. So they have a history of knocking quarterbacks out and then coming back to win the game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. And they also beat a second or third string, or they beat Joe Flacco when they beat Cincinnati. Or did they play Cincinnati before Joe Flacco went there? No, they did. They beat Joe Flacco. A 41-year-old quarterback. So I'm not all that impressed with what Chicago's been doing.
Yeah,
I'm not.
The hope is there. The hope is there for the Bears fans.
Well, the hope is there. Exactly.
Sure.
They're a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them. Ben Johnson's a great coach. Caleb Williams is amazing. Their running game's good. Their receiving is good. Their defense is good. Their takeaways are unbelievable. But like I said, if you're relying on the lottery to help you pay your mortgage, that's like relying on turnovers. I will say this, and this is not a hot take. Somebody might say it is. They're a dirty football team. I have seen them punching at balls. I've seen them scrapping and scratching and this and that. They're a dirty football team. I think they are. And when I say dirty, I don't mean dirty in terms of like the old Cincinnati Bengals that used to just deliberately helmet butt you or whatever. They're not dirty in those terms. They're not dirty like the Detroit Lions. But I think they're very, very aggressive to the point where they're really pushing that envelope. And I think things could be called. Now, having said that, Keyshawn Nixon should have been probably booted out of the game for what he did to DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. And it never even got called.
That was personal.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He should have been a 15-yard penalty and a fine. Should have been probably a $10,000 fine. You don't do that to another player. You just don't do that. So that was bogus. And I'm sorry, Bear fans. For that. But anyway, bottom line, I think this is doable for the Packers because I think the Bears, being a very young team, young and inexperienced, having to win that last game to win the division and be the second seed, they might falter. I think Detroit might find something with Caleb Williams that nobody else found. I don't know. But either way, the Packers are in. I don't know if you guys know this. Packers are in.
They're in.
They're the 7th seed. Yeah, there we go. They're the 7th seed right now. And no matter what, they could lose them both by 100 points, and they're the 7th seed.
And I think tonight is one of those nights when the backup shows up big time. And this is like a 35-17 win for the Packers tonight. This is a big win, a dominating win. The players will rally behind Malik Willis and do things there's a mentality shift that happens when you have to back up your backup. And it happened when Matt, oh God,
LaFleur?
No. The other quarterback who broke records with 5 TD touchdowns against.
Matt Flynn.
Flynn.
6 touchdowns against Detroit. And it was the last week of the season.
It was crazy.
That kind of 2011, the year the Packers went 15-1. They rested Aaron Rodgers. Then we had the bye. It was 3 weeks before we played the Giants. The Giants had played a game the week before. They were ready, and they were in shape. They were going. And Aaron Rodgers came out cold. Yes. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn because it was timing, and he was probably smoking ayahuasca in a cave in Afghanistan or something. I don't know.
It was bad.
It was bad. And then we ended up losing the game like 34 to 20.
Yeah, I don't think it was that close. It really wasn't in question hardly at all.
It wasn't. No, it was 14 points. It was 14 to 16 points. It was either 34 to 18, 34 to 20, something like that. So my prediction for tonight is Green Bay 31, and I'm going to go Baltimore 19.
Okay.
Because I think what's going to happen is they'll get a touchdown, but I think they're going to have like 4 field goals.
Okay. All right. So there's your Packers prediction for tonight, and then
31 to 19. I'm writing it down.
And then the week
31
after that
to 19. And then yours was
35-17.
35 to 17. I like either one of those things. I like yours better. Yeah.
All righty, kids. There we go. That's going to wrap things up for 2025. Thanks again to everybody for supporting our In Crowd 815 podcast all year long. Season 2026 with episode 300 starts next week.
Yes. I have one more thing I want to say. Based on my experiences with my life and what has happened, I strongly encourage each and every one of you to do one of two things. Do both. Do two things. If you have an animal, go pick up your animal and tell your animal you love them. Your cat, your dog, your ferret, your bird, your goldfish. If you tell your goldfish,
with the goldfish,
it's going to be interesting. Either it's going to go, I love you, or you're going to pull him out of the water and he's going to be fighting for his life. So be careful on that one.
Don't do that.
All right. So the other thing is, moms, dads, if you have kids that you're fighting with right now, don't do it. Call them up and say, I love you. And I don't care what happened. I'm sorry. I don't care. Because one of the things my motorcycle accident gave me was a different perspective on life and love and family and friends. If you're a kid, when I say kid, 25, 30, and you're having estrangement with mom, dad, Uncle Gus, grandpa, call them up and say, just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and let you know I love you. And I'm sorry for that time 10 years ago when I stepped on your toes or something like that. Reconcile, because the C, I was going to say the C word, but you know what I mean. Closure is so very important. And I got to thinking, and I'll quit with this. I got to thinking, had I died on that March 20th day, would I have had closure with my kids, my wife, my parents, my friends, my neighbors, whatever? Would they have had closure for me? My accident gave me the chance, a second chance at getting closure and all of that. And when my mom died, I didn't shed a tear because I didn't need to, because her and I had said everything we needed to say. We got along great. We always did. But we really, truly reconnected after my accident. And that was so very important to her and to me.
And here you are 21 plus years later still.
Yeah, still kicking. And still playing softball. I didn't play this year though. I'm too injured now with the rotator cuff and with my knee and with my hip and my foot. I'm thinking about holding a press conference and announcing my official retirement. Nobody will show up.
Soon. All right, buddy. You have an awesome weekend, and we will see you next week.
You as well.
All right.
Enjoy that Packer game tonight.
Bye, everybody.
815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815 in crowd. 815. 815.